Hello there. Alright. Seems everything's working. That's always nice. How are all of you doing? I mean, over here, as usual, it's been an interesting week. It seems I will have an exam on a Saturday, but it shouldn't interfere with the stream. Like, I might do a shorter stream that day, but yeah. Just found that out recently. So there's that. And yeah, it's an interesting game, that's for sure. Apple pie. Apple pie is pretty awesome, so I'm still annoyed that it's not really available over here. I'd have to make it myself. And I've never done that before. Maybe someday. So, I hope all of you had a nice Thursday and Friday. So. And wait a second, didn't you just resubscribe 3 days ago? Why isn't that working? Whatever. Twitch. And well, it's a braid, but I wouldn't recommend trying to strangle people with hair. But I mean... But yeah, it's not that different from my usual braid. So, there's that. Anyways, I'll go launch the game. So, restore. And restore. And turn off the music. Because settings. Thanks, Sierra, for making your games remember the settings you chose. Yeah, that totally happened in this game. Anyways, I still need to prove that, the whole voodoo cult thing exists, and that it's a threat, I think. If I remember correctly.
Can I ask you about some stuff? You're the writer. Ask away. How can I convince you to reopen the case?
And yes, I'm aware.
Prove there's a legitimate voodoo cult in New Orleans. Get me a lead on the cult.
A lead, not that's actually dangerous. So, alright. Seems I might need to use the bracelet to get a lead. We'll see. So, yes, I'm well aware who these people are. Well, the voice actors are. And I am familiar with their work, or at least some of it.
Have a good one.
Not wearing my Rocky Horror t-shirt today, but I was wearing it last stream. So, could have worn my other Rocky Horror t-shirt, but I could also do that tomorrow, because odds are I won't be finishing this game today. We'll see. It just seems like it's gonna take longer than that. I think I even own a t-shirt with Mark Hamill on it. But I don't have it over here, so yeah. No, I didn't just stock up on them. I already had them for years. Back when I was, like, wearing a different style of t-shirt cut. So, yeah. Exactly, it's in the other castle. And no, I haven't actually watched that show yet, so. I've only really seen the memes and the short clips and stuff and all kinds of stuff people made based on that character. Anyways, maybe his grandmother is going to know something about that bracelet. I mean, she has to know something.
Gabriel, come in.
Get The Mandalorian, I believe is the name of the show.
Hi, Gran.
So, yes. It's a show.
Make yourself at home, son.
Alright. Does she know anything about this?
Does this mean anything to you, Gran?
Sorry, no, Gabriel.
Well, there goes that hope. Well, and I, on the other hand, don't really watch movies, because, well, I just don't really get invested in the characters that much. And, well, I'd say most types of fiction are a bit dull when you really don't care what's going on. And I tend to have that problem with movies. There's just not enough time for character development and stuff, in my experience. So, any information?
The newspaper clipping describes a ritualistic murder in Congo Square.
Can I go there?
It includes a rough sketch of a pattern found around the body. The sketch is very similar to the reconstructed Veve.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying that all movies are bad,
This
just
is
that
the first page.
in my experience, I just prefer shows. So. I definitely like some movies. Hello, how you doing? So, I guess I'll show the bracelet to him if I haven't already. Not sure I have. Well, that's nice to hear.
Mr. Knight, you're back. Oh, goody.
Well, I mean, I definitely like some old movies. So. Not all of them. And I like some more modern movies, as in, like,
Can you tell me
released
about
after the
this?
80s.
No, I'm afraid I can't.
But, well.
Can you tell me anything about this? No, I'm afraid I can't.
He's just not interested in this entire newspaper article that includes a similar pattern. Sure. That seems very likely. He couldn't tell me anything
Can you
about
tell
that.
me anything about this? No.
Yeah. So maybe the Voodoo Museum guy
Okay,
is going to know
thanks.
something about the
Goodbye.
newspaper article. Well, we might still do that. I've just been rather busy. Real life has been keeping me very busy recently, so yeah. Haven't really had time to do, like, movie night or game
Hello,
night
Dr. Jones.
over on Discord.
Glad you could return to us, Mr. Knight.
Does this newspaper clipping mean anything to you?
It looks like ancient history to me.
I suppose. Thanks.
Ancient history. Yes. So ancient they already had newspaper. Alright. And what? Excuse me? So.
Does this pattern look familiar to you?
Where did you get that?
You do recognize it then?
I have never seen it before in my life.
Sure.
Does this mean anything to you?
No.
Okay. Can I replace the
I'll be going.
other bracelet
Walk
with this
carefully
bracelet?
out there, Mr. Knight.
And yes, he has. I'm aware of that. And so has the other guy. They're all lying to me. Well, then most of the games I play are ancient to me. Just pointing that out.
Gabriel would not be needing that disguise today.
Fine. So... do I just knock on her door?
There's no answer. Perhaps Kazunu got even more paranoid than usual and decided to get out of town.
Well, wouldn't blame her. I have played some more modern games. I've played, well, modern, as in released somewhat recently. I've played Thimbleweed Park, and sure, we can watch it. It's a fun movie. I doubt anyone hasn't seen it yet, though. Yeah, we could totally watch musicals, too. It's just a matter of when. And how we're going to, like, organize it for everyone to watch together, and what time, and all of that stuff. But yes, been rather busy. And I've got several exams coming up in, like, the next, like, 3 weeks-ish. So, who knows, maybe around Christmas? I don't know. It's a mixture between engineering and chemistry. So that's the overall thing I'm studying, but, like, the individual subjects are stuff like math, mechanics, yeah. So, anyways, where do I go? Actually, could go over here. She might actually let me into the house this time. Who knows? I have no clue. Whoopsies, I skipped it.
Miss Getty is unavailable, Mr. Knight.
Okay. Don't bananas have potassium? So, depends on the amount of bananas they store in that skyscraper.
Could I ask you a few questions?
Sure. I'm not too busy at the moment.
So... yeah, I don't really have anything new to ask about. And the other guy left, and other chess guy also left. So, can I play chess now?
That doesn't work that. That belongs to...
Fine. So, use the chair.
There is
No.
nothing.
Guess not. Too bad. So... now what? And probably not, but it depends on the amount you're eating and drinking. So, you can overdose on pretty much anything. Just, how about you, like, don't try it?
The confessionals cannot be moved.
Okay. Has anything changed here because of the stuff I stole?
May I help you, my child?
I'd like to make a confession.
All right, if it will make
Let's
you
see.
feel better.
I've had impure thoughts about a woman I met.
Impure thoughts? You mean thoughts of sexual relations?
You could say that, but worse than what you mean.
Worse? You mean extreme sexual relations?
Well, not involving animals or anything.
Oh, yeah, I see. Perhaps we should just leave it at that. Pray for forgiveness and say 10 rosaries. Hmm? Is there anything else?
Thanks the host.
Nope, that's it.
Goodbye, then. Peace go with you.
Okay. Anything else?
May I help you, my child?
I'd like to make a confession.
All right, if it will make you feel better.
I've done some pretty rotten things to my friend Mosley.
Ah,
Right.
that again.
What do you mean?
Thanks for follow.
Practical jokes, insults, among other things.
I see. Are you sorry?
Well,
Pray for forgiveness and say 3 rosaries. Is there anything else?
nope, that's it.
Goodbye, then. Peace go with you.
Didn't he get 3 for the other one too? Is 3 just the appropriate number for everything now?
May I help you,
Oh,
my
10
child?
for the other one. Fine, I wasn't keeping track. I guess he's just gonna rack up quite the total there. And to be honest, I wouldn't know what that is, because, well, it's English, and that's not my main language, kind of, technically, so.
I'd like to make a confession.
All right, if it will make you feel better.
I've had impure thoughts about...
Impure thought?
You could say that.
Word.
Well,
Oh, well.
Yeah, true.
I
It was
see.
10.
Perhaps we should just leave it at that. Pray for forgiveness and say 10 rosaries.
So,
Is there any... Goodbye.
is that just gonna be it? Just Mosley and impure thoughts, not asking the universe for forgiveness this time.
May I help you, my child?
Apparently not. Or his shirt. I'm
I'd like to make
trying,
a
but
confession.
All right, if it will make you feel better.
I've
yeah,
Impure
well,
thought?
apparently
What?
those are just the only things he's
Goodbye.
worried about. Can I leave this stuff in here?
Is that in the confessional?
Because... So, can I give it back?
Gabriel wants to keep the vestment.
Okay, well, I guess he's keeping those. Okay. Well, I don't even know what that is, to be honest. It's just a thing that apparently happens in this area, but I don't know what that thing is. It has masks. Don't know when it happens, don't know why, don't know how. I've just heard it so many times now that I'm pretty sure it's a thing.
The beignet vendor is unlikely to have
Oh, beads,
information
yes.
that Gabriel
Yes,
needs.
beads. Indeed.
Hello. What can I do for you, sir?
What the heck are beignets, anyway?
Deep-fried sweet dough with powdered
Oh.
sugar on top. New Orleans donuts, sir.
So, then we actually have something similar over here. It's Carnival. And that's, well, usually that same week on Tuesday. So, there's that.
What happened to the guy who used to be here?
The lucky dog guy? I took over his spot.
Okay. Well, we don't do beads though. Just like, oh, it's Catholic, definitely. So, yeah. Did I just crash the game? I might have. And, I mean, over here shops aren't allowed to be open on Sundays. So, there's that. And, like, most of our public holidays are Catholic holidays. So if you think the Catholic Church isn't
baby.
very much a thing over here, then you'd be wrong. Yeah, I know which guy you're talking about. Oh, they're still closed on Sundays over here, and it's not going to change anytime soon. I think they sometimes do exceptions, like, right before Christmas? Just because there's so much shopping going on. But I don't think it's going to happen this year. We'll see. So... But yeah, there's, like, lots of Catholic traditions over here. So, anything I can do with that giant angel statue thingy?
An angel draped dramatically over a stone plinth marks the entrance to a large tomb.
Yeah, it is very dramatic.
A stone angel leans down to gaze at something unseen.
So, can I interact with these at all?
The tomb is closed. The tomb...
Okay. Anything in here?
Two enormous vases flank the front of the Getty tomb.
So... Seems nothing has changed over there. Yeah, same over here, so. Like, shops at train stations are allowed to open, restaurants are allowed to open. I think bakeries are allowed to open. But yeah. Yes, hospitals are allowed to open on Sundays too. Though you'd say you can probably hear church bells on Sunday in most of the country. As in, like, the areas that actually have a population to speak of. Probably not in the middle of a mountain, because we have those, and forests. So, yeah, there you probably won't hear it. Anyways, still trying to figure out what to do here. So.
I knew you'd miss me.
Oh,
I
right.
came back.
This person's still there.
I wish you wouldn't wear that coat outside in June. I could smell you from here.
And I need to grab my tiny piece of paper with all my phone numbers for this game, not just general phone numbers. So. Let's see.
Get the hell out of here.
The figure outside does not respond.
Okay. Well, I haven't heard that name before.
The man in the street doesn't look interested in Gabriel's possession.
So, can I open the window?
That doesn't work that way.
No. Can I open the
Gabriel
window?
cannot
Can I push the window?
Why move that?
Can I pick up the window?
That doesn't seem to be removable.
Can I put on a mask to scare that guy?
Gabriel doesn't want the man in the...
So. Parades with statues. Well, that sounds very dramatic.
No thanks. I don't have time to relax.
Don't think I've ever seen any of those over here. So, yeah, I don't think statues are paraded around for any of the bigger celebrations. So, I mean, there's all sorts of stuff that's paraded around, but not statues. Unless I'm completely mistaken. So, can I have him write anything?
Writer's block.
Okay. So, you inherit the right to carry a statue? Alright. Hello. How you doing?
See you later.
Have fun.
I'm doing alright. We're currently talking about Catholicism, I guess. Or would that be the correct word? Whatever. Catholic, like, celebrations and stuff, so. That. I think Catholicism might be something else. Don't ask me, though. Vocabulary is difficult. So... let's see. Still don't know how to actually make progress in this story. So... let's see. And yes, because he was told to do 13, rosemaries, or whatever they're called. So, yeah, that's how we started on that topic. Rosaries. Rosaries. Yes, that's the one. Rosemary is something else. My brain doesn't quite work today. Hello. How you doing? And I'm doing okay. My brain doesn't quite seem to function, but yeah. I'm always thinking of food. That's just a constant. Especially because these games keep reminding me of pizza. Side note, sorry to everyone, because I just said the word and I'll try not to say it again. But yeah. But as I was saying, it's been rather busy over here, so that's probably why my brain isn't quite working today. Haven't checked the entire park, I think. I should probably be doing that. Well, who's coughing? Stop coughing! Shush! No! It's not allowed! Stop that! Could you stop your coughing fit? Is that possible? Okay then. I guess that's just what this stream is gonna be about now. This person's coughing fit. Did I crash the game again? I think he's coughing. I think it's that guy. Like, could you stop that? No? Okay, I'm finally able to walk. Okay. So I'll just follow him. Because that sounds like a great idea. Yes, just follow the coughing. Okay. So... Alright. He stopped coughing, so... He's suddenly better now. But it seems he wants me to follow him. So, I don't know. And he's coughing again. Just... Could you not? Yes, I get it, you're coughing. Shush! Such coughing. Yeah, I don't know what that is either, so... Can I talk to him?
Hey, Crash, wait up!
Crash only looks scared and
Who's
keeps
Crash?
walking.
Who's... Oh! Oh, that's the guy from the police station, I think. Why is he coughing so much? Did they kidnap his lungs or something? I don't know. I thought they'd, well, attack him, not make him cough a bunch.
Hey, Crash, wait up!
Crash only looks scared and keeps walking.
Hmm. What if I walk there from the other side? I mean, it's gonna take ages to walk over there, but maybe I'll actually get to catch him? Then also, but maybe not. So.
Hey, Crash!
Crash only
Okay. So, since he's avoiding me, maybe I can go to the lookout and figure out what he's doing from there. Well, overlook. Whatever. Words be difficult. You can try and figure it out. So, is he over there? Where'd he go? Oh, there he is. Alright.
That's Crash. What the hell is he up to with that drummer?
Alright. So yay, figured something out, like 40 minutes into the stream today. Well, the first 10 minutes were like the starting up and not even having the game up yet, so yeah. 40 minutes. Yes, I am from Europe.
The drummer is busy. The drummer is busy.
Okay. He is indeed busy, yes. So, can I find the guy again? Did he leave? No, I'm not from Scandinavia. Oh, shush. And no, neither of those. I like rosemary, the spice. I just, yeah. And yes, the famous guessing game. No, I'm not from Italy. Yes, a game show of try to guess where I'm from, where the only contestants are people who've never seen the show before. Because otherwise it would be pretty easy.
need to talk to you. Ask you some questions.
No way, man. I'm too sick. Let's go away.
Come on. I have to know what you know about these voodoo people.
You don't know nothing about nothing, man. You're so far out of it, you wouldn't understand anything. Just like that friend of yours, Mosley. Go away.
I'm not like Mosley. I know more than you think I do. I'll believe you.
Forget it, man. It's not worth my breath.
Not quite sure what you're responding to. I'm not from Italy. So. Whatever. Let's see.
Hey, what are you doing here?
I'm praying. Leave me alone.
Come on, talk to me.
I'm too sick to waste my time. Oh, go away.
Can I change back into my disguise?
There's no reason to do that with the pews.
Well,
There's
fine, I'll go into that room. Do it over there. And he totally won't notice that I walked into the room and someone who looks very familiar but is wearing the whole priest outfit
There's
thing
no reason to wait.
Came out of the room, but apparently I can't do that anyways. Can I do that over here?
There's no reason.
Nope. Alright. So maybe that's not the way to go after all. I'm trying to get him to talk to me.
The last page of
Okay. Maybe this is actually going to do something. We'll see.
Do you recognize this?
Where'd you get that?
Why? Do you know something about it?
Know something about it? Look at this.
Crash opens his shirt and reveals a tattoo.
It's the same snake.
It's their sign. The mark of the snake. Without it, they'll never let you get close.
The sign of the snake. Right. Your tattoo, my bracelet. Now, do you believe that I know something about these people?
Yeah. You know about them, I guess.
And, are you into eating strawberries with garlic? Because, well, it seems like a very silly combination. Not one I'm willing to try, to be honest.
Will you answer some questions for me now?
Oh, okay. Okay, I'll talk to you a little, but make it fast.
Oh, no, he looks bad.
Tell me what you know about voodoo.
Look, just take some advice. Stay away from this voodoo shit. You don't really want to know, man. Believe me. Just do yourself a favor and leave me alone.
I'm not saying you're silly, I'm saying that combination is silly. So.
Come on, tell me what you know about
Lots of the
voodoo.
things I do are silly.
You, man. Leave me alone. Can't you see I'm dying?
Come on, tell me what...
I told
I want to know about the voodoo murders.
you're on the right track. That's all I can say. I'm not gonna risk my life by talking about it, man.
You're not gonna let that go, are you? Well. Yes, I said Rosemary. Shush. English still isn't my first language, and that specific word is not one that generally comes up for me, so. Well. Not good with remembering random words either. I'm about as good at remembering random words as I am at remembering random names that, like, have no real context or, well, use in my life.
I want to know about the voodoo murders.
You're on the right track. That's all I can say. I'm not gonna risk my life by talking about it, man.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
Man, can't you see I'm sick? Don't bug me with stupid questions.
Why not? This is the exact time to bug you with stupid questions.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
Man,
Alright.
Do you know anything about snakes?
the eyes. Snake's eyes. Them bars.
Okay, calm down. Do you know anything about snakes?
The eyes.
Okay. What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
Nothing. Just leave me alone.
So,
What can you...
Nothing.
yeah, fine.
Do you have any idea what Cabri sans coeur means?
I never heard of that.
I'll ask again.
Do you have any...
I never heard of that.
Okay. Because sometimes asking the same thing twice gives you different results in this game, so just in case anyone's wondering why I'm doing that, it's not because I just wanted to hear the exact same lines twice.
Do you know anything about Marie Laveau?
I don't know her. Honest.
And I don't think so? I mean, I don't know. Doesn't quite fit with the theme of the game, but who knows?
Do you know anything about Marie Laveau?
Okay.
Tell me what you know about a secret voodoo hanfour in New Orleans.
Oh, man. Shut up about that shit. Can't you see I'm sick? Are you trying to kill me?
How does talking about that kill you?
Tell me what you know about a secret...
I told you.
Wait.
Tell me...
I told you.
Fine.
Do
Okay.
you know anything about animal masks?
No. Leave me alone about that shit.
What do you mean? You've seen them, haven't you?
Not me. Leave me alone.
Tell me about the animal masks you've seen.
I said drop it.
No.
Tell me about the animal masks you've seen.
Fine.
Do you know anything about Veves?
I never heard of that.
Do you know anything?
I never...
Tell me about yourself.
I'm sick. Dying. Eating the big enchilada. What the fuck else matters?
Tell me about yourself.
Fine.
I saw you talking to that drummer. What did you tell him?
You saw me with the drummer? Nobody's supposed to see. Shit. I blew it again. Promise you won't say nothing to no one. It'll get back to him. Everything does. Promise me you won't tell anyone you saw me.
Okay, but you have to tell me everything I want to know.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I was sending a message, man. They have these rotter drummers posted around the quarter. They see everything. and they report.
Report? How?
The drums, man. It's some kind of code.
No, I'm drinking water.
Tell me about the Rada drums.
I already told you about that.
Okay.
Tell me.
So it seems I've got a new thing to ask about. So I'll show him a bunch of stuff.
Do you recognize this?
No, don't waste my time.
I mean, sure, I can ask him, but I don't think he's
Do you
gonna give me an
recognize
answer. We'll see.
No.
I mean, at this point, I think he might be involved. Because, well.
Do you recognize this?
No, don't waste my time.
So, I mean, why would it be random river water?
Do you recognize this?
No.
Kind of, yes.
Do you
Basically, he's an author who's just struggling with writer's block, and, he's decided to try and solve some murders for the funsies in the meantime. So. Not even quite sure what his book is gonna be about, since I didn't seem to know anything about voodoo. So, yeah, I don't know what he's trying to write about. So. Let's see. Time to ask everyone about drummers.
Phew, it's humid out there. Made it back though.
Oh boy, party time.
I mean, he specifically has writer's block, so. It seems weird to start doing your research after you've already started writing the book.
What's up?
But got stuck. Shouldn't you do your research before you start on the book?
Do you know anything about Rada drums?
Rada drums? No, afraid not.
Okay.
Could you do some research for me?
Sure, what?
Could you research Rada drums for me?
Rada drums? Sure. I don't think we have any books on that topic in the shop, but I'll contact our suppliers. Assuming any of them will extend you any credit.
Tell them it's an emergency.
Uh-huh. I can see where a Rada drum book would be incredibly urgent. Anything else?
I can't think of anything.
An emergency book. I mean, she could also go to a library, but... well.
There's no one in that part of the shop.
There. And yes, she must feel so incredibly happy about that.
Fun.
Finally, a different boring research task.
Excuse me, sir?
Yeah? What can I do for you?
Mind if I pick your brain a minute?
Go ahead. These folks ain't in no hurry.
Do you know anything about Rada drums?
I don't know what you talking about.
Nope.
Hi. Uh-huh.
Great. So, have I shown him this thing?
Could you look at this snake bracelet and tell me if you've seen anything like it before?
Nope. Never seen nothing like that.
Okay. What about this?
Do you recognize this pattern?
Don't look familiar at all, sir.
You think he's lying? Really now? What tipped you off?
Do you know anything about these crosses? I think there's some kind of code.
Looks like a lot of hen tracks to me, man.
What if I show him the mask?
About that crocodile mask.
We don't give no refunds on headgear.
Good policy. A skill?
Do you know anything about snake scales?
I got some snake root and snake powder, but I order them wholesale. I don't handle snakes.
Haven't
I
tried
don't
that,
like
but
'em
I
at
can.
all.
What do you think about this brick?
Does this mean anything to you?
Nothing.
I don't know anything.
Yeah. So it seems he actually doesn't know anything about it.
Do you recognize this pattern?
Don't look familiar at all, sir.
Uh-huh.
This
Yeah.
is the last.
So he forgot the pattern
Can I ask
that
you
I
just a
had
few more
just
questions?
shown him.
Whatever, man.
Do you know anything about rider drums?
What I know, I wouldn't be talking about with you.
Huh.
Do you know anything?
What I
So he's kind of admitting that he knows things. Interesting.
Hello, Dr. John.
Glad you could return to us, Mr. Knight.
Okay. So. I mean, there's a drum right outside, so he probably knows something, but
Could I ask you
might
some
not want to
more
tell
questions?
Of course. I also find our dialogue stimulating.
Do you know anything about rider drums?
There are some against the wall, but I do not play myself.
You
Okay.
don't know anything about a drum code?
I do not believe there is such a thing, Mr. Knight.
Sure.
Do you know anything about rider drums?
There are some.
Fine.
Thanks a lot. Bye now.
Come back again.
So. Guess the bartender guy could know something. 'Cause there's another one right out here. So there's one outside the bar, there's one outside the museum, and there's one in the park. Is that all of them? I don't know.
Could I ask you a few questions?
Sure. I'm not too busy at the moment.
Yes, the graphics are quite nice.
Do you know anything about rider drums?
Ratted drums? Are those some special kind?
I guess. They're African.
Sorry. I don't know much about music.
Tell me about the street musicians around here.
Don't know what else I could.
Okay. Wait, is that the sequel or something? So, who else could I ask? Oh, I could try this guy. And his grandmother, because I need to ask her everything.
Mr. Knight, you're back. Oh, goody.
I'm pretty sure
And
the
if I
first
pick your
movie's
brain?
called
Not if it will get you
101
out of my
Dalmatians.
office.
So,
Do you know anything about Rada drums?
Yes, Rada drums are used in most voodoo ceremonies.
Do you know anything?
I'm not in the habit of...
Tell me more about human sacrifice.
I wouldn't dwell on it. Most voodoo sects probably haven't seen a human sacrifice for several generations.
okay. So,
Up for a G.
Can you tell me anything about that Veve I showed you?
I told you I would research.
still not done with that. Fine.
I'll be going.
Good day, Mr. Knight.
Day of the Tentacle, it was alright. I mean, like, I don't know, 7 or something? It's been a while though, so. Not sure if I've asked if there have been any calls.
I knew you'd miss me, so I came back.
I wish you wouldn't wear that coat outside in June. I could smell you from here.
Got a minute, Grace?
What's up?
Do you know anything about...
Oh, right. And
Do you
messages,
have
that was the one.
for me?
Nope.
Okay. So, what was in the newspaper today again?
Gabriel skips the voodoo murders article. What a farce. And rereads his horoscope. Death walks close to you today. Resist temptation, lest his eye fall on you too.
Peachy. Good coffee.
Okay.
I'm going out.
Good luck.
How many hundreds of years old are you again? Nice.
My precious boy. How wonderful of you to stop by.
Can't stay away from you, Gran.
Make yourself at home, son.
Yeah. It's good to be exact. I mean, if you're not gonna keep track, who is?
Can we talk, Gran?
Of course, my boy. How can I help?
Do you know anything about Rada drums?
Rada drums. Your father had a little drum set when he was small.
I don't think that's quite the same thing, Gran.
Well, your family's always been in the arts, but no musician so far.
Do you know anything
I don't know what else to...
Okay.
Do you know anyone named...
Nope, still nothing.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
I don't know what else...
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
And I don't want to. I sometimes wonder what this world is coming to.
Yes, report it to my bot. Sure, that's gonna go well.
Well, Gran, I better get going.
All right.
I've been complimenting her plenty. Thanks for the sub. Wait, didn't you do that like 3 days ago? I'm just confused. Alright. Where do I go? I'm guessing I can't go up to the guy and talk to him. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's very confusing.
Can I ask you a few questions?
The drummer does not respond.
You know, I know who you are.
The drummer ignores Gabriel and just continues drumming. Unnerving, isn't he?
Okay. What if I show him the bracelet?
Does this mean anything to you?
The drummer looks blankly at Gabriel and continues his rhythm.
I'm not. Are you? No, I'm not gonna beat anyone up.
Does this mean anything to you?
The drummer looks...
Okay. Graphic murder picture?
Does this mean anything to you?
The drum...
Nope, doesn't care.
Does this mean anything to you?
The drummer looks...
Snake skill?
Does this mean anything to you?
The drummer looks blankly at Gabriel and continues his rhythm.
I mean, I don't remember any games where that was the case. I mean, like, maybe Quest for Glory, but... Really? Space Quest? Was there? Okay. Yeah, I might need to learn it. I don't know. Yeah, but, like, randomly having to beat someone up to then... I don't know, get information out of them... Don't remember that. Whatever. Yes. I'm sure those games would...
Gabriel wouldn't get...
Oh, the police tape is gone. I just noticed that. Wow. Yep, they really don't care anymore. And it hasn't rained. I mean, but those bloodstains are on sand. They're not gonna stay there. It's not like they need to mop the sand. I guess it's just a really hot summer and nobody's walking there. I'm guessing she's still not responding.
Miss Getty is
Yeah.
unavailable, Mr. Knight.
Still don't have her phone number, so... There's that. Okay. Maybe... I just talk to the police about what I found out?
Hey, hey, hey. Knight, I had a feeling you'd show up.
Can I ask you about some stuff?
You're the writer. Ask away.
Okay.
Do you know anything about Rada drums?
No.
They're these African drums, and they're being used all over the French Quarter to send messages for the voodoo cartel.
Yeah, right. When them drums announce a blue light special at OK Mart, let me know.
Alright. That didn't go so well. And no. I don't know what I'm doing, so... Therefore, it can't really be a speedrun.
I saw you talking to that drummer. What did you tell him?
You saw me with the drummer? Promise you won't say nothing.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Report? How?
The drums, man.
Okay. Was there anything else I could talk to him about?
Well, I'll be seeing you
Later, Knight.
So... Is he still going to be there? Yep. Nice. So maybe some of my items are actually going to be relevant here.
Do you recognize this?
No! Don't waste my time.
I'll just ask about every single item I
Do you
have.
recognize this?
No! Don't waste my time.
Alright, thanks for stopping by.
Do you recognize? Do you recognize?
Nah, that's the phone book.
The number...
Maybe he recognizes the number?
Do you recognize?
No.
Do you rec?
No.
Do you? Do you? Do you?
Anything else?
Tell me more about this snake sign.
I need this tattooed to get into their rituals. That's all I know.
Tell me more.
I need...
Okay. Can I have that tattoo? I just want to borrow it.
Do you recognize this?
No.
Why are you praying?
I'm praying for my life, man.
You look pretty sick. Shouldn't you be in a hospital?
Hospital wouldn't do nothing. Leave me alone.
You look pretty sick.
Okay.
Will you answer some questions for me now?
Oh, okay. Okay, I'll talk to you a little. I'll make it fast.
Okay.
Now.
All I know is these people are into some weird shit. They have power. Real power. They can write your name on a piece of paper and chew it. And you end up minced meat. Like you've been through a grinder. They know things in their heads. Things that no one ever knew about you. They know when you lie. They can smell it. They're fucking scary, man. I don't know if it's the devil or what. But it ain't no fake shit, man. It's real.
Crash, tell me more about this voodoo cartel.
I told you all I know.
Now tell me about the voodoo murders.
They did the murders. And that's not the only way they kill. They can get you from miles away just by saying your name.
Come on, you don't really believe that, do you?
I seen it, man. You can't cross them.
It seems he's actually telling me more than before.
Tell me more about the voodoo murders.
There's nothing more to tell.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
Man,
Do you know?
the eyes.
Okay.
Okay, that's still the
What?
same.
They always met outside somewhere at night. I saw them last year dancing and howling. You don't want to be anywhere near them.
What can you tell me about?
I told you everything.
Do you have any idea what Cabri sans Coeur means?
I never heard of that.
Do you know anything about Marie Laveau?
I don't know her.
Do you know?
Tell me what...
All right. There's this is an underground cartel in New Orleans. A voodoo cartel. They control everything that happens on the street. I mean, everything. Bought are sold. They have their fingers in the legit world, too. Banks, foreign stuff, you name it. There's supposed to be this temple. What you said, a Hound 4. That's their headquarters. I heard people say it's underground. Somewhere in the French Quarter. I don't know where.
Have you ever been there?
No. I've never been in it. I'm a nobody. A runner. But I saw them once. Out at the lake. They became animals, man. Beasts. I remember the eyes. The eyes.
Hey, are you okay?
Nope.
The eyes. The eyes of the snake.
I think I should go get a doctor. Hey, are you all right?
Someone, I need help.
The eyes of the snake. Dambala.
Oh, what snake? Crash.
Crash spasms twice more, then died as Gabriel watched it.
Oh,
Oh,
God.
that was quick.
Oh, bastard.
I mean, why even bother trying to do anything at all? Just leave him there. Don't attempt anything. Don't get help. Don't, well, try and get him out of that position. Don't, like, call an ambulance.
Gabriel
Or get someone else to do it. Like, the priest is right over there, who should be able to hear you.
Gabriel cannot.
Can't pick him up, can I? Push him?
Moving
No.
the body is the job of the coroner's office.
Okay. Because I'm pretty sure this isn't general first aid protocol. Just watching as the person dies. Yeah, he just died. So, yes. Time to confess about it. And ask why that guy didn't respond at all. Like, there was someone dying right outside and he didn't notice. Yep.
May I help you, my
Didn't
child?
notice.
I'd like to make a confession.
All right, if it will make you feel better.
Some people say I'm a selfish person, Father.
We can always strive to improve ourselves. Patterns can be broken.
Also, there's a
Yes.
dead person
Thank you,
outside.
Is there anything else?
Might wanna, like,
Nope,
check that
that's it.
out.
Goodbye,
No
then.
big deal.
Peace go with you.
Wait, is he alive again?
Crash is dead. He's not going to be very communicative.
He looks like he's holding his head up. Alright. Well, I think I've tried. But true, I might not have used the look symbol specifically. So. Anything? Lovely. Alright. Anything I can swipe?
There's no point in doing that with the corpse.
Well, I'm specifically trying to get stuff, so.
Crash's shirt is closed.
Open. Alright. There's the tattoo. Sketch it.
I guess I better copy this tattoo.
Lovely. Anything else? Can I put his t-shirt back? Okay, there. Uh,
Crash's face shows signs of strangulation. His death was not a pleasant one. Crash's body is slumped in the pew. What a place for a violent death.
yes, that I just watched.
Crash's body.
So. Yeah, that's not happening. Would be a bit too gruesome for this game. Nope, apparently not. Just gonna walk away. Pretend it never happened. So, yep, just leaving. 'Cause why not? I mean, I've got a sketch of a tattoo now. That's all I need. This game. Maybe I can report it now. I mean, we'll see.
Hey,
Like, oh, by the way, I left a
Nah,
corpse in
come
a
on.
church. I totally didn't kill him. I mean, sure, he looks like he's been strangled, but it wasn't me. Yeah.
Can I ask you about some stuff? You're the writer. Ask away. Crash is dead. What? What are you talking about? I just let him go this morning. Yeah, well, that turned out to be a brilliant move. Though they probably would have gotten him anywhere. They? You're losing it, Knight. It was the voodoo cult. They did it. Crash said, you're an amateur, so let me just give you some advice. Crash was a junkie. You gotta read through the hallucinations, you know what I mean? Where's the body, anyway? St. Louis Cathedral. Lovely. Well, we'll make sure he's picked up sometime today so he doesn't scare the shit out of some nun. But chill, Gabe. In this business, you see a lot of stiffs. Aren't you going to investigate? Civilians. Did you actually see someone kill him? No. Actually, I was with him when he died. Could have been poison, though.
Wasn't me.
Yeah, well, when they get the body in, they'll do a quick autopsy. Standard procedure. If it's anything other than an overdose, I'll get a report. But it won't happen. I know these guys. Lock them up overnight, and they tend to overdo it the next day. Your professionalism is astonishing.
Okay. But yes, it totally wasn't me. Why would he even think that?
I took this tracing from a tattoo on Crash's chest. It's related to the underworld voodoo cult. Yeah? What makes you think that? It's what Crash said just before he died. Well, he was probably hallucinating from the drugs he OD'd on. Probably got that in the Navy or something. No, I'm sure it's related. It's a snake seed. And even if it were a signal of some sort, that doesn't prove that the murders were done by a legit voodoo cult.
Fine.
This is the last.
Hello, how you doing? Guess it's time to check the church again and
Well, I'll be seeing
see
you.
if they've done
Have a good
anything.
one.
Because, I mean, I am wondering. Alright. Alright.
It looks like someone found and moved Crasher's body.
Did they move it in here? He's such a slow walker. Okay, nothing there. Well, I mean, I don't think the graveyard is attached to the church in any way. So. He'd still have to go quite a bit to the graveyard. But there is gonna be an autopsy and everything, so... probably gonna happen first. So, now what? I mean, I've got the tracing. But who's gonna know anything about that? And I don't think I can find a marker to fake a tattoo on him. Or actually get one. I don't know. I'll show it to his grandmother and see if she approves. That's the most important part.
It's my favorite grandson. How nice.
Your only grandson, but nice try, Gran.
Make yourself at home, son.
So, what do you think?
Does this mean anything to you, Gran?
Sorry, no, Gabriel.
Okay. I don't know if that's approval of him getting that tattoo, but...
Can we talk, Gran?
well...
Of course, my boy. How can I help?
You know, you get prettier every time I see you.
Oh, you.
there. Done. Now I can leave again.
Well, Gran, I better get going.
All right, dear.
I still feel like she's going to know something.
Mr. Knight, you're back. Oh, goody.
Mind if I pick your brain?
Not if it will get you out of my office.
Okay, no new topics. So...
Can you tell me anything about this?
No, I'm afraid I can't.
nope. Time to ask all the other
do
people.
Keep in touch.
Yeah, might need a hint. I don't know. My current plan is just to ask everyone about the tattoo. Which might lead absolutely nowhere.
Yeah? What can I do for you?
Does this mean anything to you?
Nope.
Okay. Fair enough. I'll check the bookshelf again, because it said something about dragons.
I knew you'd miss me, so I came back.
Really?
So,
I forgot you were gone.
Gabriel selects a volume of German poetry that he always found strangely compelling.
Drei Drachen kriechen in meinem Schlaf. Die Ziele wollen sie lebendig zum Fraß.
no, it's still the same German
Heutigen
lesson.
Atems, gespaltener Zunge, genießen sie jedes Mal.
So, I mean, is there any other book?
Gabriel.
Nope. Well, it's not French.
Gabriel pulls down a book on
It's snakes. Okay.
Snakes are legless reptiles. Some snakes kill their prey with poison, some by constriction. A snake smells by tasting the air with its forked tongue. The smells are passed back to a sense organ in the mouth. Constrictor snakes, however, sense their prey by vibration.
Did you know that medieval legends about dragons
Did
and
it say
giant worms
poison
actually based
instead
on
of venom?
snakes? You know, dragons, devils, sea monsters, well, they've always been associated with snakes.
Grace, get alive.
The history books on that shelf don't interest Gabriel. Gabriel pulls down.
Snakes are A snake smells by tasting the...
I skipped it again.
Snakes are legless
Yeah,
reptiles.
poison.
A snake
Wow.
smells by tasting the air with its fork. Constrictor snakes, however.
So,
The history.
nope.
Gabriel's had all those books in the bathroom and doesn't care to read them. Gabriel's had all. Gabriel's had. Gabriel.
Himmel. Dry. Got a minute, Grace?
What's up?
So, and I mean, as far as I know, they can also just flick their tongue in the direction of the thing they're smelling. So, like, we can move our eyes, they can basically do the same thing with their nose. Kind of. So. Seems useful, I guess.
Do you know anything about snakes?
I told you nothing. I hope you don't think this subject is erotic. It's not.
Okay. I don't think anything's changing in here.
See you later.
Don't hurry back on my account.
So, I'll try it again and see if I can figure it out now.
Gabriel, my love, how nice to see you.
Nice to see you too, Gran.
Make yourself at home, son.
Also, side note, if I'm not completely mistaken, some snakes
Enjoy yourself, dear.
do neither. So they don't use venom or constriction for their prey, because some snakes just straight up eat eggs. And, well, an egg isn't gonna run away. So, let's see. What was the order again?
A ring of 6 symbols surround the face of the clock. A
Eclipse
sword.
dragon. Okay. So the dragon is at 3. So that might be correct. So can I move the key?
Nothing happens.
Okay. Maybe I need to set the clock to a specific time. Or maybe it's something else, I don't know. That's the sword, sun, angel, noose, eclipse, dragon. So, yeah, since it's 3 dragons, I just think this might be correct. Just don't know what the time would be. Or how I'd figure out the time. Hmm. I mean, one of the dictionary entries was just noon. Which would be at 12. So it wasn't that though, because the key didn't turn properly. So what about 3?
Nothing happens.
No.
Nothing happens.
Nope. Okay, what else? Let's see. I don't remember the game telling me anything about a specific time.
Do you know anything about snakes?
I told you nothing.
Do you know anything about...
I told you.
Okay.
Could you do some research for me? Could you see what you can find out? Oh, just, you know, stuff.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You mean these? I mean, I can turn them and... Well... There's a thing about 3 dragons. This is a dragon, this is a sword, sun, angel, noose, eclipse. So, since there was a thing about 3 dragons, I think dragons might be at 3. It's just a guess, though. But I still need to know what time to set it to. So... Maybe his grandmother said something. Okay.
Tell me about my father.
Your father was my only child. Philip suffered from terrible nightmares, just like your grand...
Tell me about my...
When Philip met your mother, it was love at first sight. They will. You have your father's way with women, Gabriel.
Tell me about my father.
I wanted to just lay down and die when he and your mother were killed in that car crash. The police say your father swerved off the road.
Tell me about my father.
Yes. It's a guy who keeps calling him.
Your granddad wanted Philip to have a normal life.
But I can't call back, because I don't know enough about him.
He pushed Philip to go to law school, but Philip was driven to art. He painted almost in a daze. He would get so inside himself when he worked.
Tell me about...
He always hated it that it was Margaret's money that supported the three of you when his painting couldn't. I kept telling him, try something more cheerful.
Tell me about...
I don't know what...
Okay.
Tell me something about Granddad.
Your granddad immigrated to America when he was 21. He worked his way through school, met
Trying to find
me,
anything
and
about a
we had your
time.
father, Philip.
Tell me something about
Your granddad supported me and your father with bookkeeping. I'll tell you what, though, he hated every minute of it. Maybe that was why he had the worst luck with jobs. The nights he'd come home afraid to tell me he'd lost another. And I would tell him.
Tell me something.
Harrison was only 36 when he died. Your father was 8 years old at the time. Took me...
I'm sorry, Gran.
I know.
Tell me something about...
Did you know that your granddad was a poet? He was! He wrote the most beautiful
So he might have written that poem.
courting.
Wait, did she say where he immigrated from?
Harrison was...
Tell me something about Granddad.
Oh, wow. That took me ages. That guy is gonna be related. He's gonna be one of their German relatives. Wow. 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 Because they translated their surname literally. So from the German word meaning knight to the English word meaning knight. So he is actually relative. Alright. That took me way too long.
36 when he died. Maybe that was... Your granddad supported me and your father with bookkeeping.
That took me so long.
He worked his way through... Your granddad immigrated to America when he was 21.
Yeah, I know, right?
He worked his way...
Tell me something.
I should have caught that ages ago.
me and your father with bookkeeping. Maybe that was why...
Tell me something about...
Harrison was only 36 when he died.
Tell me something.
Did you know... I always thought he should have done something with that gift. But he was such a practical man. Didn't believe in chasing after dreams.
Well, basically the German and English parts of my brain are pretty separate, so a lot of the time when I'm thinking in one or the other language, like, basically if I suddenly hear something that makes my brain think of German, but it's actually English, then I might not understand just plain old English because I'm thinking in German. So, yeah.
Tell me something about Granddad.
I don't know what...
Tell me something about
So with accents that remind me of German, if someone has one of those, I have issues understanding English sometimes. So, and that's probably one of the reasons why I really dislike German accents, because they're just basically triggering both parts of my brain at the same time, and it's confusing. But yeah. It's a thing. But yeah, I've got no clue how it took me this long there. I should have picked that up, like, several streams ago. Wait, what was his grandfather's name again? Yeah, Harrison. That's not a German name. Philip would be more of a German name. Margaret would be more of a German name, but not Harrison. Like, well, I guess maybe he took on a new first name too. So that might be why I just didn't notice that their family was supposed to have German roots. I mean, the fact that his grandfather had a German poetry book should have probably tipped me off, but yeah, I'm blind sometimes.
Well, Gran,
So, stranger guy from Germany is actually their, like, literal relative. Like, maybe great uncle or something. Or, who knows, I mean... I'll try and call him again. I mean, I know it now, but in-game I don't know it.
Phew, it's humid out there. Made it back, though.
Oh, boy.
So... what if I check the dictionary?
Gabriel.
Possessing?
No.
Gabriel.
Drachen?
Gabriel.
Let's...
Gabriel.
Spiel?
Gabriel.
Himmel?
Gabriel.
Dra...
Gabriel.
Possess...
But yeah, apparently night isn't in that dictionary.
Gabriel selects of
Drei Drachen. Feurigen E.
So, I'll look at the books again.
the top shelf contains a set of German books that once belonged to Gabriel's grandfather.
Yeah. It seems they were, or at least some of them, were written by his grandfather. Well, I mean, I don't know what time to set it to, and... well, if I'm going to try all of them, that's gonna take a while. So I'm still trying to figure that part out.
I'm not calling some stranger in Germany. I still don't know who this guy really is.
Well, he is a relative, so... I'll just have to convince him of that. Don't know how I'm going to tell him about it. Well, I mean...
Try not to
a
sell out
hint
the store while I'm gone.
as to how to figure out the time would be nice. You don't just have to tell me the time. But yeah. I just have no clue what time to set it to. I'm somewhat confident about having the dragon at 3. But It's going okay. How are you doing? I just finally noticed that the guy from Germany who's calling, his last name translates to night, so he's probably actually a relative. So, yeah. That whole thing took me so long to figure out. Still slightly shamed. Yes. Yes. Well, I hadn't quite realized that their family had German roots, even though his grandfather had German books. And his grandmother said that his grandfather was writing poetry, and one of the books is a German poetry book. Yeah. I guess it was the fact that, well, their names all sound so English. So. Harrison isn't a German name that I'm aware of.
Could I ask you a few questions?
Sure. I'm not too busy at the moment.
Okay.
Does this mean anything to you?
Can't say that it does.
Don't think I've shown the tattoo to everyone yet. So, I'll continue on that part. Yeah. Like,
Hi.
I don't even need to translate it, because it's my first language. I mean, I did kind of translate it for, well, your guys' benefit, but I understand it in the original language,
Can I
so...
ask you just a few more questions?
Whatever, man.
Not saying I'm good at poetry, though, because I'm not. I tend to take everything way too literally and also be very confused about it.
Have you noticed it on any of your customers, like as a tattoo?
No. Can't say I have, me. Marine Corps, is it?
Yeah, could be. Thanks.
Okay. I don't know why everyone's lying to me all the time.
Hello, Dr. John.
Glad you could return to us, Mr. Knight.
Well, not directly, no.
Do you recognize this snake figure?
How curious. Where did you find
He's
it?
looked at a German dictionary after looking at the
I would throw
poem.
it away if I were you.
Why's that?
It looks like trouble to me, Mr. Knight.
He recognizes it.
Do you recognize this snake figure?
How curious.
Oh, just...
I would...
Why's that?
It looks like...
He recognizes it. Ha.
Thanks a lot. Bye now.
Come back again.
Okay. Well, yeah, it doesn't give you the full translation, that's for sure.
Phew, it's humid out there.
I mean, I can translate it again if you want.
Oh, joy.
I mean, as I said, I'm really bad at poetry, but... What words did they give me again?
Drachen means...
Yeah, dragons...
Gabriel.
Let's see.
That word wasn't in the poem.
Gabriel.
Wasn't in the poem.
Gabriel.
Himmel.
Wasn't in the poem.
Gabriel.
Dry.
Three, yeah?
Gabriel.
Besessen.
Wasn't in the poem.
Gabriel.
Drachen means
Or was possessed part of the poem?
Gabriel.
Drei Drachen. Drei feurigen Atem.
Nope, 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 nope. Wasn't in there. So, all the official translation I have is 3 dragons. Alright. Yeah, I kind of need to keep that in mind, I guess. Oh well.
Gabriel.
Drei Drachen.
Yeah.
Drei Drachen kriechen in
So,
meinen Schlacht.
3 dragons,
Die
3 dragons.
brüllen sie lebendig zum Fraß. Feurigen Atems, gespaltener Zunge, genießen sie jedes Mal.
So, all I'm supposed to understand is 3 dragons. 3 dragons. Alright. 3 dragons. 3 dragons.
Gabriel leaves through a German ink.
Let's see, Mittag means mid...
Yeah. That dictionary is great. Just gives me random words that aren't even part of the poem, but for some reason he looked them up. And he's not even looking up his name, even though he has a dictionary. Okay.
Gabriel cannot take that.
I'm out of here. Try not to sell out the store while I'm gone.
Good luck.
Yeah. And for anyone who might have missed the stream when I, well, translated it very roughly, it's 3 dragons that want to eat someone's soul.
Make you...
I think while the person is sleeping. Something, something, fiery breath. Yeah.
That doesn't...
Poetry.
I'm going up the attic again.
Enjoy yourself, dear.
I don't know by heart, and it's difficult to translate it word for word, because poetry. So... Yeah, true. Split tongue, too. I think they say something with their split tongue, or something like that. Horrible at poetry.
Gabriel doesn't want to take...
Or, no, they eat it with their split tongue. Or, they eat every meal with their split tongue. Fiery breath. Things. Words. So. Let's see. Is that it?
Nothing happens. The face of the clock.
Yeah, I'm not trying to click on a face. So, what time could I go for? I'll just go for random times, I guess. So. Nope.
Nothing happened. Nothing happens. Not. No. Nothing.
Yeah, I just don't know.
The face. Nothing. The
Was
face
there
of the clock.
any hint when it comes to what time to set it to? Or am I just supposed to guess it?
Nothing happens. Nothing happens.
Can you tell me where I got the hint? Because that's... oh, in the poem, so... it will probably be 3 then. So... I've already tried this setting. I mean, do I have the time right now? Because maybe the other setting is the one I'm getting wrong. So I've just been hoping that that's correct. Okay, so the time is correct. Huh. So guess I need to figure the other part out then. Okay.
Granddaddy, you old fox.
So the dragon at 12? Alright.
Gabriel doesn't want to take the clock.
I take the
The
key.
key should stay with the clock.
Fine. Yeah. Yeah, like random word from the dictionary. Just like all the other random words from the dictionary. But that word wasn't the hint for the time, which I thought it would be. It was the hint for where to put the dragon symbol. Like, what?
The letter is written in German, but Gabriel determines what he can about it.
Just read it.
It was sent from a place called Schloss Ritter in Rittersberg, West Germany.
Does that place exist?
The letter is addressed to mein Sohn Heinz and signed Wilhelm Ritter. One of the reoccurring words strewn throughout the letter is the word Schattenjäger. The
Shadow
only
Warriors,
thing
really
Gabriel
now.
can decipher about the letter is a sense of urgency in the handwriting and in the heavy use of quill-tip bold strokes and underlining. The letter is written in German. It was sent from a... The letter is addressed to mein Sohn Heinz and signed Wilhelm Ritter. One of the reoccurring words strewn the...
So...
The number Wolfgang Ritter's phone number, written in Grace's pretty scrawl.
Yeah, whatever. Shadow hunters, shadow warriors. That. Still bad at literal translations. Because I never really did the whole, here's the German word, here's the English word vocabulary list. So, yeah. Okay. Well, can't say I've heard of it.
Old photographs show Gabriel's grandfather with 2 other men that Gabriel has not identified.
Okay. Well, look at this again.
The letter is addressed to Heinz Ritter, whoever that is.
So we've got a Heinz, we've got a
The letter
Wolfgang?
is written in German. It was said the letter is a
No, Wilhelm.
of the
So we've got a Wilhelm, we've got a Wolfgang, we've got a Heinz. So yes, I could just do the proper German pronunciations of the names, but well, either way, maybe I can ask her about it.
That's it. Take a load off, hon.
Does this mean anything to you, Gran?
No, dear. I'm afraid I don't speak a word of German.
Okay.
Does this mean anything to you, Gran?
That one in the middle is your grandfather. Those other 2 I don't know.
Okay.
Well, Gran, I better get going.
All right, dear.
Isn't that chocolate? It's sweet. If I remember correctly. It's not... Yeah. Yeah, it's the chocolate then. The chocolate wafer thingy. I think.
Phew, it's humid out
Yeah.
there. Made it back, though.
The excitement of seeing you is killing me.
I haven't had that stuff in quite some time. But hey, I mean, brand awareness. So... Just wondering, how many German speakers are in chat today? Because I'm honestly curious.
I'm not calling some stranger in Germany. I still don't know who this guy really is.
I mean, sure, I can do a poll. Apparently, I still don't know who the guy is, but I found his name in his grandfather's old stuff. But that's not enough of a hint that I should maybe call him. Definitely not. That would just be silly. Okay. And back to the game. The polls should hopefully work. But yeah. I guess I need to get it translated?
I wish I spoke German.
Do I know someone who speaks German in this game?
Do you know
Yeah,
anything about this?
No, sorry.
Well, not quite the same language. German and Dutch.
I'm going out.
Have fun.
One of the differences being that I only speak one of those languages, not both. Actually, I could look through the tapes. Yeah, none of those seem like German names. True. I could really try that. Good point. Because I don't notice any people who seem like German speakers.
Hey, Grace. Here I am.
Oh, joy.
Gabriel doesn't need to share that letter. Gabriel doesn't need... Gabriel...
Fine. Seems I can't translate it. Or maybe I can
Gabriel leaves
use
through
the
a German-English
dictionary now.
dictionary.
Spiel?
Nope. Nope, still the same. Yeah, that dictionary seems pretty useless.
I'm out of here. Try not to sell out the store while I'm gone.
Good luck.
Yeah, in case anyone's wondering why I do the English pronunciation of German words and names, if I do the German pronunciation, it's all extremely confusing to me. Switching from, like, pronouncing something correctly in German back to English, because separate languages. So, it's basically like switching between the languages for that one word. And yeah. That's why I tend not to do that. Okay, nothing's changing over here. Apart from, well, the fact that the crime scene is not classified as a crime scene anymore. So... thanks for following. Why did it do that sound twice on my end? Did you guys hear it twice? Like, you mean Super Mario? Because, no, it's not like that. Okay, so I'm not the only one who got double notification sounds. Interesting. I'll need to test this real quick. Let's see. Yeah, it's still doing double sounds. What about now? Now it's doing no sounds at all. Why is it doing double sounds? That's very silly. Wait, now it did the double sound again? What? What? And sorry, I'm having my bot repeat it every time. Yeah. I can also fix the layout where it says it twice. But yeah, I don't know why it's doing double alerts. Yeah, you broke my stream. I don't know how you did it, but good job. So, we've got 4 German speakers. Alright. Good to know. Yes, it's always broken. Don't worry about it. I really don't know why it's doing double alerts. It hasn't been doing those earlier. The bot should be fine. Yeah, well, thanks to the host. So, now I can test it with your host. Get no sound at all if I do that. Great. So, why is it not doing it properly? What if I do this? Nope. Still double sounds. That's really strange. Got no clue why it's doing that. Huh. You lied. Wow, good job. Well.
Mr. Knight, you're back. Oh, goody.
But yeah, I'll fix the thingy. 1 second. How am I going to do that? Probably like that. So, there. That should restart it. There we go. It's all back to normal now. Just ignore the double alerts. I don't know what's causing them. Sure, they're fine. Oh, are you using autocorrect? Because it seems like that's the sort of thing that would happen with German autocorrect. So, yeah.
Mind if I pick your brain?
Not if it will get you out of my office.
There.
Have you ever heard of a Schottenjäger?
I'm afraid I can't help you there, Mr. Knight.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Who's gonna
Good
be
day,
able
Mr.
to tell me about shadow hunter peoples? Yes. But yeah, finally I'm asking about something that I already know about. That's always great.
Gabriel, my love, how nice to see you.
I'll try and ask her too, but
Nice
she
to
won't
see
know
you
anything
too,
about
Granny.
it.
Make yourself at home, son.
But I'm guessing that's why he's having the weird dreams and everything, because he's
Can we talk,
one of the
Gran?
shadow
Of course,
hunters,
my
whatever
boy.
that means.
How can I help?
Have you ever heard of a Schottenjäger?
It's his
Schottenjäger?
grandma.
Schottenjäger. How odd, Gabriel. I haven't heard that word in years. My goodness, you've given me a chill. Your granddad used to say that sometimes in his sleep.
Really? Do you know what it means?
No, I'm afraid not. I asked him about it once. I don't think he answered me. Odd.
Thanks, Gran.
Have you ever heard of a Schuttenjäger?
I don't know what else to tell you, dear.
But yeah, he actually pronounces it correctly. Yeah. Yes, exactly. I was about to say that. His grandma pronounces it wrong. So she pronounces it like it's written the English way, as in like with an English keyboard. So maybe maybe the voice actress just didn't know what to do with the weird dots. Or they sent her the script without them. I don't know. Anyways.
Do you know anyone named Wolfgang Ritter?
Wolfgang Ritter.
Do you know anyone named Heinz Ritter?
Heinz Ritter. Oh, Gabriel, where did you hear that name?
I found a letter in Granddaddy's clock.
I promised I'd never tell you or your father. But I suppose it doesn't matter now.
Tell me, Gran.
Your granddad's name was Heinz Ritter before he came to America. He changed it to Harrison Knight legally when he arrived.
Why Harrison? Why Harrison? And same here. So, yes. It says, like, some of the keys in German. So, like, enter is still in in English, but, like, control is in German. I don't know who decided all that stuff. So.
Why did Granddad change his name?
I don't know. I tried to ask him about his family, his life before America, but he didn't want to talk about it. He never even told me about his name change. I found out one day when I saw his passport in a drawer. Since he obviously found it painful, I never questioned him about it. But I'm sure it wasn't trouble with the law. Your granddad was the best man I ever knew.
Sure, it wasn't trouble with the law. He just didn't want to
Only that his family
have
was
anyone
crazy.
know who he was.
He never wanted to see them again. He believed in some family curse. Thought that he could spare Philip and Philip's children from what he called old nightmares. Whatever Harrison wanted to spare,
that didn't work.
Though, it cost him plenty. He never did sleep well, and he would often get a far-away, guilty look in his eyes. He was wrestling with something he thought he should be doing, someplace he thought he ought to be. I don't know how he could think that he should be anywhere but with me and our child. It's a terrible way to live.
He should have gone to, like, hunt some shadows. Yes.
Have you ever heard of a Schuttenjäger?
I don't know what...
Okay.
Do you know anyone named Wolfgang Ritter?
As I said, your granddad's surname was originally Ritter. I never learned much about his family, but from things he said, I always thought he had a brother back in Germany. I don't know if Wolfgang Ritter is related to your granddad or not.
Not sure why they'd call witch hunters that, though.
Do you know anyone named Wolfgang?
I don't know.
Anything else?
I told you.
Okay. So, I finally figured out that
I wish I spoke German.
That surname is a thing. So.
The letter is addressed to Heinz. The
Oh.
letter is addressed to Heinz
It's
Ritter,
changed
Gabriel's
to
grandfather.
that now. That's interesting.
The letter is written in German, but Gabriel determines what he can about it. It was sent from a place called Schloss Ritter in Rittersberg, West Germany. The letter is addressed to mein Sohn Heinz and signed Wilhelm Ritter. One of the reoccurring words strewn throughout the letter is the word Schattenjäger. The only thing that Gabriel can decipher about the letter.
Yeah.
The
Wilhelm. So, his great-grandfather's name is Wilhelm. And the other guy writing him is called Wolfgang. So, I'm guessing? Yeah, age-wise, Wolfgang is probably his grandfather's brother.
Shows Gabriel's grandfather with two other men.
Yep.
Apparently, his German father and brother.
Alright. So,
well, Gran,
I should be able to call him now.
All right,
hopefully.
dear.
Phew, it's humid out there. Made it back, though.
Oh, joy.
So, this is still perfectly normal. Don't worry about the person who keeps on staring into the shop and, not doing anything, just staring all day long. Shadow hunter. So. It's literally just the word shadow and the word hunter. So.
Guten Tag, Sie haben Schloss Ritter erreicht?
I'm looking for Wolfgang Ritter.
Ja, einen Moment.
Yeah, is this Gabriel on the phone?
This is Gabriel Knight. Why are you calling me, Mr. Ritter?
I have been having premonitions of great danger for you, Gabriel. You must leave New Orleans this very day.
What the hell are you talking about?
It is hard to explain on the phone. I have had senses, feelings about you. It took me a long time to have you tracked down. I had a sense that Heinz had a grandson, but until these dreams started, I did not know if I should contact you.
You say you're related to my grandfather?
Yes, Heinz was my brother. There is much about the family that you should know, Gabriel. Come to Schloss Ritter in Rittersberg, West Germany. It is our family home. I will tell you everything when you come. You must come immediately. You are in great danger there.
Look, I appreciate the family spirit and all, but frankly, I don't know you from Adam, and I'm not going to fly off to Germany, even if I could afford it.
Gabriel, please. If you won't listen, at least let me send you something. It is a journal from one of your ancestors. Promise me you will read it.
It's gonna be in German,
well,
isn't it?
I'm pretty busy.
Please, Gabriel, you are the last of our line. I am too old to carry on. You are our last hope. Please,
why didn't he have kids?
Read the journal.
All right, I'll look at it.
Good. Now be careful and come to me as soon as you can. Goodbye.
And I don't know, could be. Maybe they had that rule for whatever reason, or it was just the style back then. I wouldn't know. But yeah. What if I call him again? And, like, the actual German was just like, hey, you've reached the castle. What can I do for you? That sort of thing. So. Didn't miss anything.
No.
What? What? Just no.
There's not.
No. I can't afford to call Germany again till I
Fine.
figure more of this out.
Fine. Fine. It's too expensive to call them. They can't do this. Yeah, he might be more willing to do it if he knew that he was calling a castle just now. Yeah.
Got a minute, Grace?
What's up?
Have you ever heard of a Schottenjäger?
No. Is that a voodoo word?
I don't think so. It's German.
No, but it has a nice ring, doesn't it? Schottenjäger.
Do you have messages for me?
Nope.
Could you do some research for me?
Sure. What?
Can't think of anything.
Can't
Wow.
think of anything.
Okay.
So, can I check the dictionary for what any of those words mean?
Gabriel leaves.
Himmel.
Nope.
Drop.
No.
Possessive.
Still nothing.
Drop.
Gabriel.
Let. Spiel.
But yeah, it does actually seem like they
That doesn't seem.
hired people who speak German for this game.
Got some things I need to do.
So that's impressive. Because we've had some weird grammar for German-speaking characters. Just game. And what's typical? Hiring people who actually speak the language or not hiring them? Because in my experience, it seems more typical to hire people who maybe had German in school at some point. So even with voicing games or movies, sometimes the German characters have an English accent while speaking German. There. But yeah, true that. And they also had Mark Hamill do quite a big part, so yeah. I mean, and yes, Mark Hamill. Ever heard of him? And I think
Can I ask you just a few more questions?
Spell his name with 2 L's.
Whatever, man.
Might be wrong, but...
Have you ever heard of a Schottenjäger?
Man, I don't even know what language that is.
That would be German. But yeah. I mean, I can go visit him again. Try and ask him about shadow hunters.
Hey, hey, hey.
Yeah, what is it, you wanker?
Can I ask you about some stuff?
You're the writer. Ask away.
Have you ever heard of a Schuttenjäger?
No. Ha! Is that anything like a Chuck Yeager?
I don't think there's any relation.
Alright. So, he's just not gonna pronounce the word. Guess we'll never know if he could have pronounced it correctly. What if I ask again?
Have you ever heard of a
Probably the same one.
Well, not since the last time you asked.
Alright. He didn't repeat the exact same thing as last time, but still not gonna say the word. Alright. But it seems like they might have actually had people
I'll let you get back to it.
coach them when it comes to pronunciation. But, well, to some extent. Doesn't make a lot of sense that he knows how to pronounce that word, though, to be honest. He doesn't speak German, and with how he was pronouncing some of the words in the poem, he doesn't know how to pronounce German either. He knows, I mean, a bit of it. He could have done worse, that's for sure.
Mr. Knight, you're back. Oh, goody.
Okay. Can I show it to him? Maybe he speaks German, I don't know.
Can you tell me anything about this?
No.
Nope. Nope.
Mind if I pick your brain?
Not if it will get you out of my office.
Have you ever heard of a Schuttenjäger?
I'm afraid I can't help you there, Mr. Knight.
Okay. Who else could I ask?
I'll see you later.
Good day, Mr. Knight.
I mean, I need to find out more about... Oh, I could ask the travel agency. Maybe they speak some amount of German, I don't know. Like, maybe they could at least tell him that that one word means castle. So...
Somewhere.
Okay.
Somewhere there's a new...
Yes, somewhere there's a phone book missing a page. Oh. I guess 2 pages? Kind of. So. Nope. On.
Hello. See the World Travel Agency. How may I help you?
How much for a trip to Rittersburg, Germany?
Rittersburg, Germany? Hold on, let me look that up. I can fly you into Munich. That's the closest airport to Rittersburg. You can rent a car from there, or take the train. Let's see. The best price I can see for the flight
All right.
is $1,400. What would you like to do?
Well, that's an expensive one.
I can't afford it. Sorry.
I see. Goodbye.
So...
Hello.
just get me out of here.
Can you just get me out of here, please?
I'd be happy to send you anywhere.
Just get me out of here.
I'd be happy to...
Fine.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Okay.
The old photograph shows Gabriel's grandfather with 2 other men.
Okay.
The old... The tracing is of a snake tattoo from Crash's chest. The crocodile mask is made of genuine crocodile head. It looks heavy, hot, and smelly. Sam's replica of Madame Cazanu's snake bracelet looks just like the original.
Okay. That's pretty impressive. I mean, well, pretty sure he didn't do a great job at the clay mold. So maybe that jeweler guy actually knew what he was doing already.
The letter is addressed to Heinz Ritter.
But yeah. I'll read what the game lets me know one last time.
But Gabriel determined it was sent from a place called Schloss Ritter. The letter is addressed to mein Sohn Heinz, one of the reoccurring words. The only thing that Gabriel can decipher about the letter is a sense of urgency.
Okay. So I'm guessing that letter was Gabriel's great-grandfather asking his grandfather to come back from the US to Germany to continue being a shadow hunter there. At least that's my guess. Because I'd assume that his grandfather was living at that castle before then. So they would be sending letters from there to the same castle.
Got a minute, Grace?
What's up?
So maybe he changed his name after receiving that letter. So, well, I don't know. Get away from his father.
You can't tell me anything about the word Schottenjäger?
Nope, sorry, I don't speak German.
Oh. And neither does the actual dictionary. Alright, so any characters who might speak German? Have I tried the bartender? Because, I mean, he might have heard something. I'll just try and figure out if there are any characters who might speak some German. So yeah, first guess would be the bartender guy.
Could I ask you a few questions?
Sure. I'm not too busy.
Have you ever...
Never heard of it.
Nope. Okay. Actually, I'm kind of curious when his grandfather moved. So, let's see.
Tell me something about Granddad.
Your granddad immigrated
So,
to
when
America.
he was
He worked his way
21...
through school, met and married me, and we had your father, Philip.
Tell me something about Granddad.
Your granddad supported me and your father with bookkeeping. Maybe that was...
Tell me something about...
Harrison was only 36 when he died. Your father was 8
Okay.
years old at the time. Your
So,
granddad was hit by a streetcar in the business district.
So, he had a son when he was 28, which would be 7 years after moving. So, let's see.
Tell me about my father.
Your father was my only child. Philip suffered from terrible nightmares, just like...
Tell me about my father.
When Philip met your mother, it was love at first sight. You have your father's way with...
Tell me about my...
I wanted to just lay down and die when he and your mother were killed in that car crash. When the police say your father swerved off the road, I wanted to just lay down and die when he and your mother
Yeah,
were
so,
killed in that car crash when you were only 8.
once again, both of them lost, well, either one or both of their parents at 8. So.
The police say your father swerved off the road after being frightened by something. Perhaps a deer in the road or a wild cat.
So, either way, still wondering when that would have been. I mean, how old is Gabriel? I'd say like, I don't know, 30-something? Would just be my guess. I mean, he owns a family bookstore. He's an author.
Lucy, I'm home.
Oh boy, party time.
And I'd say he didn't quite seem like he fit in with the students. But I don't know. Don't know how old he's supposed to be. So, that would mean, like, and I think so. I don't know. Wouldn't be the person to ask.
Got a minute, Grace?
What's up?
Does sound like a reference to me, though.
Do you have
Nope.
Tell me about you.
What else do you...
Okay.
Nothing, I guess.
Suit yourself.
Nothing new to ask about, and...
Sure. What?
Nope.
I can't think of...
Okay.
So... I still don't know who could speak German in this place. I don't think anyone has mentioned it.
This is the... Some...
Don't see any names that seem especially German. So. I mean, could be someone changed theirs, but I don't know.
See you later.
See ya.
But yeah, my guesstimate would be that his grandfather might have moved between the world wars. Not entirely sure there. So. Just kind of wondering, like, what environment he was moving out of.
Hi.
Well, it's all fiction, but still curious about it anyways. Can I show people the photograph?
Does this mean anything to you?
Probably not.
I don't know anything about
Yeah. Of course not. Well, first one was like around like 1918-ish. I'm not good at like remembering the actual specific years, but just around there-ish. And second one was like in the 40s-ish. So, and like early 40s, not into the 40s. Anyways, is she gonna be back now?
There's no answer. Perhaps Kazunu got even more paranoid than usual and decided to get out of town.
I'm guessing she's still not available either. I mean, the jeweler guy also left
Ms.
town.
Getty is unavailable.
So, maybe people are running away from him. I don't know. Right, Sam. Good point. And, well, the Getty lady might have also left town. Don't know. Maybe she's just not available for some other reason. And the one guy died. So, kind of running out of people to talk to. So,
Hello.
What can I do for you, sir?
What happened to the guy who used to be here?
The lucky dog guy? I took over his spot.
Okay.
What the heck are Bane?
Deep-fried sweet dough with powdered sugar on top. New Orleans donuts, sir.
I don't think so. Did I? I mean, how long have you been asleep for? Well, sorry. Probably gonna end the stream soon anyways, because I just don't know who to talk to. And I've got, well, other stuff to deal with. So, there's that. Oh, since I opened the clock, well, I found a letter, I found the photograph, I've been showing those around. I called his grand uncle? Like his grandfather's brother. So called that guy. He told me I should come to Germany and that he'd send a diary, which would probably be in German. Because it's a diary of one of his ancestors, so how wouldn't it be German? Thing is, still haven't found a German speaker to translate any of this stuff in-game.
May I help you, my child?
And me being able to translate it doesn't count in-game, so yeah.
Could you give me a blessing?
The priest blesses Gabriel through the confessional window.
No, the day didn't
Peace be
change.
with you, son.
Thank you, Father.
Don't know what I'm missing during, like, this day. Sure, there's something. And I can't call again because it's too expensive. Can't seem to find anyone who speaks German, so nobody's translating the letter for me. So he doesn't even know that he was invited to a castle yet. Poor him. It seems like they might actually have employees at the castle. Because, I mean, his great, yeah, I think great uncle, grand uncle, whatever, the relative guy I was calling, he said he didn't have any kids of his own, which would mean the lady who was answering the phone for him isn't a relative, so yeah, she might be staff. I'd assume you'd need plenty of staff to keep a castle up and running. So, oh well. Yeah, the day just isn't changing for some reason. Maybe there's something I need to do with this person?
Killing me.
I don't know. I must be missing something.
The man in the street doesn't look interested in... The man...
I'll just show him random
The
stuff.
man in the street doesn't look interested in Gabriel's possession. The man... This... The man...
Can I smash the window with a brick?
The man in...
Apparently not. Well, that's a shame. So... yeah, I don't know what to do with him. Am I just supposed to ignore him the entire time? It is a bit weird.
Leave my coat alone, Gabriel.
If Gabriel took that down, the customers have to look at his messy studio. It's a bit warm in here.
Trying to figure out how to cover the window.
Gabriel skips the voodoo. Death walks close to you today. Resist temptation, lest his eye...
Peachy.
Okay. I guess I'll try and talk to Mosley or something.
I'll be back later.
Don't hurry back on my account.
And if that doesn't lead anywhere, then I'll probably just end the stream for today.
Hey, hey, hey. Knight, come on in. Can I ask you about some stuff? You're the writer. Ask away. How can I convince you to reopen the case?
You still prove there's a legitimate voodoo. Get me a lead on the cult.
Okay. Well, don't really have any of that, but do I have a photograph? Nope. Letter?
I have the...
That doesn't...
Nope.
If
I have the...
That doesn't...
Yeah, I've already shown him the tattoo.
I'm telling you, this snake tattoo is a secret membership symbol for the voodoo cult.
Well, it sounds like good copy anyway.
Fine.
Mosley doesn't appear to...
Yeah, I don't know. So, I'll save again. And I'll just continue tomorrow. So, there we go. It's been quite an enlightening stream. Found out all sorts of new things about him. And, well, his family history. So, that sure was interesting. Well, sorry, but I do kind of need to do other things. You can watch the VOD. So, that way you can catch up on the stuff you missed. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'll be streaming again tomorrow. So, I'll see you guys then. And yeah, have a nice morning, rest of your day, evening, things to follow. Still don't know why it's doing the alerts twice. Just ignore that. Yeah. Anyways. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Yeah.